the right education to recognize, prevent, and respond to harmful behavior. Join the movement to champion respect and end abuse at uscenterforsafesport.org.
Hey Meridian, it's Glenn Beck. Join me for the Glenn Beck program coming up at 9. Now back to Mornings in Meridian right here on Meridian's News Talk station.
ALT 601-485-9191. Glad to have you alongside us here on this Tuesday morning, September the 26th. Of course, online at WALTmeridian.com and doing that Facebook thing this morning as well. Go like and follow us on Facebook, WALT Talk Radio. About 10 minutes into the hour now. And going to be another busy morning. And who are we? I am Rob. Good morning to you. And joining me this morning is Charles Frazier. Good morning.
Good morning.
And allegedly. Allegedly.
Okay.
Roger Burke is going to be back tomorrow.
I'm not putting any money on that
You're
one.
not putting any money.
Yeah.
We could get a phone call at the 11th hour.
Yeah. Ain't gonna make it, boys.
So, but Roger is scheduled to be back in with us tomorrow. So, we are going to have a special guest coming in studio at 7:30. Got Maureen Lofton going to be checking in with us, and Maureen's going to have something pretty important to talk with us about
big
this
event
morning.
coming up in the city. So,
Absolutely,
big convention.
So we'll talk about that a little bit later on this hour, but a lot to get into this morning. Had another shooting, shocker in Meridian yesterday. It was right as we were going off the air yesterday is when that happened, so we'll dive into that. Also, more Bond talk.
Oh, Mr. Bond.
Mr. Bond. And also more traffic problems in Meridian. We have some more street closures we're going to be talking about as well.
I want to talk about that North Hills.
I was hoping you would
interchange. Just weird.
It is weird. And speaking of that area, another portion of North Hill Street is going to be closed very soon. So,
just for your convenience.
So yeah, just to be merry and bright.
We didn't.
Christmas came early.
Surely you didn't think it would be open now. No, we've got another surprise in store.
Exactly. Before we take our first phone call of the day, let's start bright and early and thank our friend down at Front Street in Meridian, that being Tony Krill at Tony Southern Sportsman, because you know what is coming this weekend. Bow season is opening. I know Sheriff Solly had to remind us of that this past week. He's like, "Hey, don't forget about bow season." I was like, "Yes, sir."
That's right. Okay, yeah.
So, but
when he tells you to remember something, you remember it.
so
I'll put it
if
on my belt too.
If you need to get your bow tuned up, go see. What do you always say, Tony the Tuner?
Tony the Tuner. That's right. He's got everything for archery down there. He's even got a little archery range where you can, size the bow, weight it out, and make sure that it's adjusted to your fit. Tony's Southern Sportsman down there, 1724 Front Street, underneath the 18th Avenue overpass. Not only archery, but he's got all kinds of hunting, camping, fishing, hiking equipment, everything you need to get out there and enjoy this cool weather. Well, it wasn't that much cooler yesterday, but in the morning it's very nice.
Oh, yeah, nice
and
is beautiful.
In the next few weeks, it's going to be fantastic. So go see Tony at Tony's Southern Sportsman, 1724 Front Street, 601-693-4111. And, of course, he's open 8:30 to 5 Monday through Friday, and again on Saturday for your convenience, 8:30 to 1.
All right, let's go to the phone line this morning. First caller of the day. Hey, caller, good morning.
Well, I won't say it is, actually. I won't say there's nothing good about it. I want to make sure I got all what I heard correct. Now, this young mother went to a store, going to try to give her child a good birthday, going to buy some birthday decorations, and can't go in the store without being robbed and shot 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
She did not know this person. It wasn't nothing domestic. It wasn't nothing ongoing, just random. So you know what that tells us?
Mm-hmm.
Our wife or loved one is next.
Yeah.
And I said that can't be. I said, well, I got to get my information, so I pull up Facebook, and people talking about recipes in the ball game. What have we become so oblivious?
Yeah.
And apathetic to when something like this? Where's the outrage, man?
Yeah, and Chuck, I'm glad you said that because I was at an event last night, and some folks were talking about 2 different things. They were talking about this situation with the shooting and talking about ball games. And yeah, I love going to ball games just as much as the next guy. But you know what I told those individuals talking about the ball games? I said, you know what? The sun came up today. I said, a ball game's a ball game. That's in the past, man. This is real. And this is a woman who is just trying to do something nice like we would all do for our children. And my wife actually has been to this location to shop herself because it's right across from where she works at.
Yeah.
Scares the ever-living daylights out of me, and it should everybody out there.
Mm-hmm. And my wife works right out there, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And and it don't have to be right out there. It could be
anywhere.
It goes on all over Meridian.
Yeah.
But we are so worried about offending these criminals or doing something that offends them. We got judges and DAs that gives them plea bargaining and slaps on the wrist. We got legislatures who have watered down the punishment with laws. We got them all scared to death of the ACLU and the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Amen.
And in the meantime, we suffer for it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess it will take, heaven forbid, a person's family member to be involved in this before they get upset about it. And you could call a meeting right now. This woman's fighting for her life. I know she's doing good this morning. For a while, she was fighting for her life, trying to, just because she went out to buy decorations for her child. And heaven forbid it's going to have to happen to one of us before we're going to get fired up and upset about it. Because as long, I said this 40 years ago, when we stopped punishing people, if there's no punishment for the crime, it's only gonna get worse. There's no deterrent for being a thug, being a trash, going out and hurting perfectly innocent people. There's no deterrent for it. Yeah. Like there used to be. I mean, crime. You used to think twice about what would happen to you if you committed a crime. Now they don't think twice. And I don't know. I don't know what to do. I just shaking my head. Our politicians, our mayors and stuff, they don't hire the right people. Like I say, we know what judges and DAs do and our legislators do to stop this, put a serious end to it. But I don't know. I'm just upset, and knowing, like say, my wife works right out there, and it could be any one of our family members that happened to yesterday. And anyway, I appreciate it, guys.
All right,
Y'all let me in. Thanks.
Appreciate that. And of course, it looks like the woman's her condition is getting better. I know it was not looking too terribly good yesterday, but there was a 2-year-old that was in the back seat that thank the good Lord was not harmed. In this, but this occurred. It was right as we were about to go off the air yesterday. Of course, the shooting happened. A woman was shot multiple times during a reported armed robbery in the parking lot of Dollar Tree on North Hill Street. Right across, there's a couple of salons right there. It's right across the street from that. It's right there at that little, 4-way red light right there across from one of the tire dealerships right there. But you can't miss the Dollar Tree right there in the corner. So, yeah.
It is a concern. I think that there should be some outrage and there should be a response from the police department. However, there are a lot of shootings throughout the year.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of these are kind of, when you've got a domestic dispute, you can kind of say, okay, then, those people, that was an isolated incident.
Sure.
Not really a random thing. But however, there are random things that occur in certain neighborhoods. And I think that we tend to kind of ignore those. And we're doing ourselves a disservice by ignoring them because those are the same people who are committing them. And then we've got these kind of random things that hit a little closer to home, to be honest, to our listenership. And so that's when we're going to get up in arms. But we should get up in arms every time there's a shooting. Yeah. And they're all equally as tragic. And, as I said, this one does hit a lot closer to home. When it's random, it's on North Hills. It's in kind of a one of these, shopping districts. And so the concern, obviously, is that, anybody's a target now. And, I'm disappointed that we didn't hear anything from the city as far as the police department saying, hey,
I haven't heard anything yet.
Right. So, and you can't blame the police for not preventing this. You can, however, say, okay, that in the past, the jurisprudence has not gone the way that we would hope, as far as Chuck was saying, locking up these people and making sure there's a punishment for every crime, because I'm sure that the perpetrators of this have a record, and they've done other similar crimes, maybe not shot somebody, but certainly strong arm robbery, things of that nature. So there's been a trend, and that's usually how you see it with these criminals. And yet they've been slapped on the wrist and said, get out there and have fun. So
that's the part that aggravates you more than anything.
So we do need outrage, but we should have outrage at every shooting that we have. So we shouldn't have any, sort of apathy about any shooting, even if it's not in a neighborhood where we frequent.
Sure. Let's go to line 2 here on Mornings Meridian. Hey, caller, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey, good morning, sir.
All right. Your previous caller is on the back end of the problem. Okay? Punishment for crime. It starts a whole lot earlier. It's parents who do not raise their children properly, an education system that has no punishment whatsoever, because the money is the big deal from the federal government, and their rules about, you can't paddle a kid in front of the classroom like they did when I was going to school, and there's no repercussions for the minor things in the beginning. It gets worse as you get older. Go back to the old style. You act up, you were bent over in front of the class, and the rest of the kids got to giggle. That stopped a lot of this mess. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole proactive, reactive argument for policing, and sure. What. That's great, although unfortunately, legally, we're not allowed to do any of that stuff anymore. And so, how do we go about doing that? How do we, kind of rescind these orders from the ACLU and the Southern Poverty Law Center and all of that? And so, I don't know. How do we police?
Sue.
Okay, well, I don't know how effective that could be, but
if
how do you
have
control a family as well? How do you get a family involved in raising the child? Does the state take over that? Boy, I'm not an advocate of state raising children, but I mean, maybe that's the answer.
How did it all go away? People suing because kids got rights. They don't. They have parents who have rights, who are, their job is to protect them and raise them properly and all that. So Go the other way. You know, if you have a child in school and there's a child in the classroom that is totally disruptive and the learning process is not as good as it could be, okay, sue the parents of that child. Think about that now.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we appreciate you this morning. We got a lot of phone, and we'll let you run.
All right.
All right. Appreciate you.
You guys have a good day.
Thank you.
Yeah, good thoughts.
All right. Good thoughts. 601-485-9191 here on Mornings in Meridian. So let's thank one of our fantastic sponsors. If you're looking to get that early bite to eat this morning, just roll over past exit 150, and you'll see our friends over at the Magnolia Restaurant, the Queen City Truck Stop.
That's right. They got that long haul breakfast. And if you're a long haul truck driver, that thing will keep you going all day long, even if you're not one. Boy, that'll keep you full all day, well, until lunch maybe. And, of course, today's lunch is Tuesday, and we've got hamburger steak with onions and gravy, fried chicken, my favorite, turkey and dressing.
Thanksgiving on a Tuesday?
And it's coming up, you know.
It is.
We're, about 90 days from Christmas, so that makes, 60 days to Thanksgiving or thereabouts, maybe a little less. And, of course, they got the veggie plates always and the Biggie Burger. And they never close up there at the Magnolia Restaurant inside the Queen City Truck Stop, exit 150. Of course, you can call them as well, get something to go, 601-482-0259.
All right, let's go back to the phone line here on Mornings Meridian. Hey, caller, thanks for holding. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, now.
On this school bond business,
Yes, sir.
we're going to go to the school and vote on.
Yes, sir.
A lot of the people, as of right now, may know and may not know where to go vote.
Correct.
But I just overheard a conversation at the breakfast table with some Lauderdale County's finest people at the courthouse. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
But are people aware that sex offenders, pedophiles who are eligible to vote, will be able to come to this school where little children are and cast their ballot?
Wow.
Has that question been brought up?
That has. I'm glad you did.
Voters of Lauderdale County.
Yeah.
I don't think it has. So, people, I'm here to tell you, something's going to blow up. I hope and pray not. But what if it does, guys? What if it does? So, I'm listening. Thank you very much for taking my call, and y'all have a blessed day.
Appreciate you, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening. Yeah, another layer that really hasn't been discussed a whole lot.
Pedophilia, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't want to broach that. But, and he's got a great point. But, of course, we've been talking about security as well. I mean, just you're kind of opening up a closed campus when the kids are there. And, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And sure would seem, I mean, for those few sick individuals out there who want to go do something like shoot up a school, my goodness, what a good opportunity. It's crazy,
Yeah, I mean, you hate to have the thought in your mind, but
Yeah.
you always have to prepare for every single possibility when you open up these school districts to voting.
Right.
And just I mean,
it doesn't make sense. I don't know that they have any day that's open like that to the public ever during the school year. And they've decided to do one, and they should have. Well, anyway, I still think they should do a virtual day that day.
Yeah. And, and it's funny you mentioned that, because when we got done with the show yesterday, I had several people message me the same thing. It's like, well, they did a virtual day not too long ago.
Sure, do another one.
Why not do another one that day?
It would make more sense.
But
the teachers would be home. They wouldn't be voting.
There you go. All right, before we get to our next Fox News break here, of course, you know me. I got to go through the voting precincts again, as usual, here on Mornings in Meridian. Of course, district voters residing in these precincts, these are the locations where you will go vote on October the 3rd. If you usually vote at Bailey, Center Hill, Collinsville, Martin, or Sickalina, you will vote at West Lauderdale Elementary. For folks who vote at 17, Causeyville, Odom, Vinville, Wynot, or Mount Gilead, you will now go vote at Southeast Middle School for this special bond election. And for folks that usually vote at the Landing on 39, New Lauderdale, Daleville, East Lauderdale, Marion, Kewanee, Russell, or Toomsuba, Your voting precinct on October the 3rd will be Northeast Middle School. And then finally, Pickard, Clarkdale, Meehan, South Nellyburg, 0. Those folks will go vote at Clarkdale Attendance Center. And, of course, remember to reference your voter registration card for the school district portion on the voter registration card. If it has a number on there, you are eligible to vote. But, of course, we've talked about the separate school district portion of a voter registration card. Charles, if it has that SEP under there, folks are not eligible to vote. Now, obviously, if you live inside the city limits, you're not eligible to vote, but there are a few exceptions for folks with their voter registration cards. It's that SEP. So just reference your card there. Of course, the 4 school locations are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And for voting questions.
So for questions about voting.
Yes.
Okay.
Not tax questions.
No tax questions. I got questions about taxes.
60.
Why I got to pay them?
Call Donna Jill about voting questions.
About voting.
Yeah. 601-693-1683. That's 601-693-1683. As Charles, it's hard to believe we've been talking about this issue pretty heavily for several weeks now, and now we are officially 1 week out from this bond.
So next Wednesday we go back to the coroner issue.
Yes.
Okay. It's going to be a relief.
Your favorite.
Man.
But anyway, like I said yesterday after we got off the show, I got a lot of messages about the virtual day. We had brought that up, that they had a virtual day. It was several weeks ago that the county schools had one of those. And that was another question that was brought up yesterday. Why not do that?
Sure. Not only with the safety issue, but also with the logistics of getting people in and out of the schools.
Correct.
Especially during drop-off or pickup time. And drop-off or pickup time is not 20 minutes. I mean, people get in line like 45 minutes ahead of time, so then you're looking at it's probably a 2-hour window for certainly for pickup. Drop-off tends to be a little quicker, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, and we had a parent message us yesterday that gave us a picture of what the line looks like out at West Lauderdale, and I mean, it was... Woo.
It's like a Chick-fil-A line, but not moving.
Yeah, but not moving at all. Exactly. Right. So, and don't forget, tonight is going to be the third of the 4 community discussion nights that the Lauderdale County School District has set up to discuss the bond issue. They're going to be out at Clarkdale tonight at the Clarkdale High School gym. Of course, that is located on 145. Of course, Charles, are going to be out there at 6 o'clock tonight. And then if you do miss that one, they have one more. They got one more left. If you want to drive all the way out to West Lauderdale Elementary, you can on Thursday. For those folks
Where
out
is
there.
that place?
West Lauderdale Elementary is on Highway 495.
It's like up in Neshoba County or something. Where it is.
So they'll have
they'll
have the final one of those on Thursday night at 6. So if you've got concerns, questions, you got 2 more shots to ask school representatives there tonight at Clarkdale at the high school gym, 6 o'clock, and then Thursday night West Lauderdale Elementary School gym. Once again, that time is also 6 o'clock, and of course the vote next Tuesday.
So who do I call about tax questions then?
Not Donna Jill.
Anybody but Donna Jill. I see. Okay.
Yeah, there's an inside joke with that.
Okay, sorry about that.
Some of you can read between the lines, but anyway. We're going to take a break here on Mornings of Meridian, and Charles, we've got a big event coming here to Meridian very soon.
Exciting stuff.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about that coming up after a Fox News break here on Mornings of Meridian. Stay close.
new section of the Crescent, you could take the train from Meridian to Jackson and then pick up the City of New Orleans train up to Memphis or any parts north.
Right.
Up to
Awesome.
Chicago. Yeah, it'd be really great. Or then it goes west to Dallas. Something else people don't really think about, you think of train as long distance travel, which it is, of course, but it's also great for weekend getaways.
Yeah.
People love to go down to New Orleans for the weekend from here. I had a friend who got married, and her family's from Birmingham, and her wedding was in New Orleans. And so the folks from Birmingham all piled on the Crescent, and they rode the train down to New Orleans for the wedding and took the train back. So their wedding party started in Birmingham and went all the way to New Orleans and then all the way back to Birmingham.
And,
was
it's funny. The reverse is true as well. We get a lot of folks at the restaurant who come up for the day from New Orleans, and they'll go to the Max, come eat at Weidman's, they'll, and various other places as well. So, that's something that is really has some appeal. And I don't know if we're marketing down there for rail passengers to come up or if they're just kind of randomly deciding. But it's not just one or two. It's groups coming up, but also individuals. So it's great to see as well. So people are riding the rails.
And it is fun for trips because driving the car just gets to be a little old sometimes.
Yeah.
And just to be able to sit back and enjoy, talk to your friends on the
your
trip.
car doesn't have a bar car. I'm just kidding. I don't even drink,
right.
but and
The train has numerous advantages, that being one of them.
a bathroom. Yeah.
That's right.
Well, I love riding the trains, and of course, I did it a lot in Europe, and I've done it quite a bit here as well. And it's just a great way to see the country. I mean, you just kind of sit back and go, and you get to see so much more of the country than you would even driving. You go through these little towns and kind of see things that you don't see on the interstate because all you see are billboards and exit signs, pretty much.
Yeah.
And state troopers.
Yeah, you really do see the country. You used to see the country before the interstate. When you drove,
right? But now you don't.
Now you don't.
Anything.
No,
Yeah.
you don't see the towns at all. So the train is the last bastion of being able to truly see the country,
Sure.
and it is wonderful. The long distance trains are just absolutely breathtaking. And I've heard many people say, "Oh, well, they're not any cheaper," and I don't know why people think they would be. Of course, with flying, the advantage obviously is time, speed. But the trains have other advantages. You can see the communities as you go by. You can relax and talk and share and enjoy things you really don't ever do on an airplane. So, no, they're not dirt cheap, but they have advantages that no one else can match. So we are really pushing all of that with this service. Oh, there's another one that people may be interested in. There's a train called the Sunset Limited, which actually runs or did run all the way from California to Florida along the coast. Well, during Katrina, the line from New Orleans to Mobile basically got destroyed. So there was this big gap in the service there, and that was in 2005. So it's been 18 years, and it is finally going to reopen.
Great.
So that's huge news for travelers, and that is a great ride. I've never taken it, but to go all the way from California to Florida, that would be a spectacular ride.
It's a long ride across Texas. I know that.
Certainly is. But that is getting ready to reopen. I'm not sure exactly when, but so those are two pretty big initiatives for passenger rail service, and they're both happening in Mississippi. One is the reopening of that section, and then the other is this Meridian to Dallas section, which they're still studying, but hopefully that's going to come to fruition soon. I want to give folks a number and a...
Okay. I think we have a caller in who is part of the Passenger Rail Association, the president of it. Is that right?
I believe so. Mr. Matthews?
Hey, are you there?
Me.
Hey, sir, how are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
We're doing well. Glad to have you on board with us, and we got Maureen here as well.
Hey, Jim.
Hi, Maureen. thank you for everything you've done for us leading up to all of this. You've been a force of nature, and we could not be more grateful.
I've never been called a force of nature. Thank you, Jim. But it's good to have you. I have touched on the conference and invited people to attend, especially the hands-on advocacy workshop. And then, of course, our people from our area are invited to attend the entire conference if they want. And I was going to tell them it's at railpassengers.org. Railpassengers.org is all the information they would need about the conference in Meridian, October 5th, 6th, and 7th. So now, Jim, talk to them some more about this expansion of Amtrak from Meridian to Dallas.
Oh, my goodness, there's so many of those projects to talk about, and they're all pretty exciting. But, as I was listening here the past few minutes, you touched on a lot of the reasons why these projects are so